Next slide. I'd like to tell you about a person who I wish was a friend of mine, but he has passed on. His name was Chester William Nimitz. He was the commander-in-chief of the U.S. Fleet and the commander of the Allied air, land, and sea forces in World War II. This man is one of the reasons that we were able to be triumphant and win in World War II. Admiral Nimitz was a remarkable leader. He could manage people, he was gifted, he was amazing. And after the war was over, many business colleges around the company, or around the country, were studying his management style. He was so successful in leading the Allied forces of our country that they wanted to know what made him such a good leader. And when they examined his style, they gave it a name. The Nimitz style of management is called MBWA. So if you have the MBWA management style, you are like Admiral Nimitz. Next slide. MBWA means management by walking around. So all of these business colleges all over America, after studying him and seeing what he did, named his style management by walking around. He knew his officers, he knew his staff personally. Every single morning he got up, he had breakfast, he went running, then he got showered and dressed and came to the office. He worked for a couple hours, and then he got up from his desk and walked around. He talked to everyone, all of his officers and staff. He knew them by name, he knew their families, and he visited with them and talked to each of them about themselves and about their jobs. His management style was walking around. I'd like to present that to you as an example, or maybe even a suggestion that you could adopt that as your management style as you lead your company. Walk around. You don't have to walk around from house to house, but walk over to your phone and call somebody or text somebody, or in your meetings, talk to everyone, find out about their lives. When you have the MBWA management style, then you start to be more personal in your activities, and the group becomes closer together and much more cohesive working as a group. I was very inspired by Nimitz and his MBWA. Think about it. I think it will be something that you could use in your management. Next slide, please. In order to become a really successful president, we have these jobs as listed in the bylaws. Number one, you are to preside at your company meetings. So you will be bringing a positive feeling. And if you use the MBWA management style, then you will be showing interest in everyone and being interested in everyone's ideas. The second thing you are required to do is counsel with your company executive board. The company president does not make all the decisions for the company. The company president comes to her company board and discusses every issue with them. And the decisions made for the company are made by this council. Who is on the executive board of the company? They're all the elected officers. So as you have your meetings, you counsel with your executive board in order to make the decisions that you need. As a president, you bring ideas to the board members I had a president come to me and say, we were planning our Jubilee, and I brought 3 ideas to our company board. We talked about all of them, and then chose somebody else's idea. And that's the way it should be. Choose the things that your council decides. I will tell you that in our executive board in the international, in the last year and a half, I have been voted down 8-1 3 times. And that's the way it's supposed to be. The council brings a depth of understanding and ideas to your board, and they help to make the decisions. Number 3, your job is to appoint company officers. This happens in between elections. When someone is unable to fulfill their job, you are to appoint someone to be in their place until the next election. You do not make that decision yourself. You get to decide some ideas of people you think would be good, but it is your executive board who makes the final decision of who those appointments should be. The 4th thing you get to do is ensure that the required reports are submitted to ISDUP. You should be really happy that you don't have to make those reports. You just have to make sure they get to international. And there are 2 very important reports that need to be to international by June 30th. They are the company statistical report and the company financial review. And may I say congratulations to all of you. We are getting 5 to 10 envelopes with these reports in them every day at our office. So they are already coming in. But put June 30th on your notes. That's when those reports are due. And it is your responsibility to make sure they get to international. The 5th thing is that you prepare a president's report of the previous year's status at your district convention or other company meeting. We now have district conventions every other year. And so on the year you don't have a district convention, you give that report at a jubilee or a training meeting or another event where your whole company has access to that information. And here you report the status of your company and what you're doing and the health of your organization. The 6th thing that you do is very important, and it is that you authorize disbursements from your money. And all of these authorizations also must come with the okay of your executive board. So when it comes to spending money in DUP, it is a board decision, but the president will give the final okay for the disbursement. So these are the 6 jobs that you're given in the bylaws. And we'll talk more about some of the procedures, but next slide. We're going to now have Stacy talk to us about some things that are really important to you. And when you hear her voice, I'll bet a lot of you will recognize it because she's the person you talk to when you're making arrangements for your district conventions. Hey, Stacy.
I'm just going to start by talking a little bit about district conventions. We have a lot of new company presidents coming on this year. And so that's an important part of the DAP program. One of the reasons it's important is it's a chance for us to connect with you. We love, personally, it's my favorite part of being on the board is coming to your companies and meeting all the daughters and getting to know you and seeing the great things you're doing. And then a lot of times in our board meetings, people share some of the things they've learned as they've gone to their district conventions and the things they've seen happening all over the US and in Canada. Amazing things are happening. Also, it connects us with what your struggles are. And that helps us prepare training and we see patterns of things that are, that's the 10-year initiative. Things like that came out of seeing people are struggling getting new members. What can we do to help? So it's really important that you fill out that president's update and get that report, because that helps us see where your strengths are and where you're struggling and where we can help. It also helps that at the end of the convention, you will be given an envelope with the host president does an evaluation and sends it back in. And all of those reports are read, and we do consider as we see trends especially, but also I can take something that's a concern and to that person on our board that's over that, and they can help address that directly with you. Another thing that's important about conventions is that it gives us a chance to share what's new at DUP and train your officers. An officers training meeting is a required part of a district convention. It's held usually the hour before, and it involves all your officers, both elected and appointed, on your camp and company levels. So please make sure, and I will remind you that when I schedule your convention. We put effort into our training. We have a training meeting before the training meetings start on the board, and we do a mock training to make sure everybody has the materials they need and knows what we're training on. So no matter which board member is assigned to your convention, we all do the same training now. So you will not, if it just happens to be the music chair, you're not going to just hear about music in your training. It will be the same training for everybody. So it's really an important part of the convention. Another reason that district conventions are important is because it is a business meeting. And like Ellen said, as a board, as company officers, you are responsible to let your members in your company know what the status is of your company, financially, statistically, what your goals are, and all of those things are on the president's update and the financial update that are given in those reports. So that's why we have them. We are starting our scheduling now within the next few weeks. If you have a company, a district or company convention in 2024, was your last one, you will be assigned to have one in 2026. And I will be contacting the company presidents to schedule it. Please check your spam or junk folder. The email comes from conventions@isdup.org. Sometimes it gets, if you don't get it from me, it will go into like a junk folder or something. So check if you haven't gotten one by the end of July, check there to see. But make sure also that your company completes your statistical report, because one of the pages on there has your company officer list. And I work with the membership department based on that list of who the company presidents are. So if you don't update us on who your new company president is, it will go to whatever we have on our records. So it's important that you keep us in knowing who your president is, so that we have that information. We have district conventions in February, March, April, May, the first part of June, September, October, and the first part of November. And they're held every day of the week except Sundays. Sometimes we get, like when I first moved to Utah and I became a company president, I thought we had to have our district convention on the first Monday in May, because that's when they always held it. But you can choose what works for your area. But the trick is, if you have multiple companies meeting together, all of the presidents need to be in alignment of the date and the month, the day of the week, because we coordinate that. Also, we have areas like in California, Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, where we have multiple conventions on the same weekend, and we send one representative, so we have to coordinate with everybody involved in conventions when that travels. So I will send the email to all of the company presidents involved, so that you can agree on a date. I will give you a comparable date to what you've held in the past, You're not tied to that date. You can change it if everybody's in agreement. But please respond to the email that you got it and confirm the date. And if you do change the date, that's fine, as long as all the companies involved agree. Let's see. The company, the ISDUP representatives are assigned in October, and I will send an email to the company presidents with her name and contact information. She is supposed to contact you. If you don't hear from her, but please feel free to contact her. And because I know you want to know, some of you do programs or invitations with the name. Sometimes we do have to change a representative because of illness or things that happen. So it's not set in stone, but it's pretty much that person will be your, unless something happens out of the ordinary, that will be your representative. On the website, on the tab at the top, it says forms. There is a drop down that says district conventions. Everything you need is there. Your president's update, financial, there is a really important one called meeting outline. If you are the host president, just look at that. It tells you exactly the order of what you need to do to run the meeting. Please do not ask somebody else to come in as a speaker that day. Your representative will be the speaker at the main meeting. So you don't need to bring in outside speakers or special, things that you want to share with your company. You can do that at a Jubilee. District conventions, like Ellen said, are held every other year. So if you had a convention in 2025, it goes by calendar year, not by your DUP year. So if you had a convention in 2025, you will not have a convention until 2027. But like Ellen said, you're still responsible to give that president's update and the financial review to your company at some time during that year, at a Jubilee or Christmas party or whatever. But, and then you can just send me by email or mail me your president's update for those years. On those years when you don't have a district convention, you can decide if you want to meet together with the other companies as a Jubilee, or if you just want to do it as an individual company. You don't have to meet with multiple companies like you do for your district convention, if that's how your district convention is set up. But if you do decide to do it individually on the off years, please change your rotations. Some companies have two that meet together for district conventions, and one always hosts on odd years and one always hosts on even years. And so one's always doing the district convention every single time. So you look at your rotation and make sure it's fair of who's hosting. If you have questions about anything in between years, your representative is basically assigned to be your representative for 2 years. So she will come to your convention, and then the following year, she's available to you to answer questions, help you with things, whatever you need. Also, areas with regional reps, please reach out to them too. They could be a great help to you. So that is the information about district conventions. Make sure that you look for that email if you should be having one in 2026. And if you have any questions, you can give me a call and I will try to answer it. And I'm going to change hats real quick, put on my legacy editor hat, and just talk to you real briefly about the legacy. The fall legacy comes out in September, and the deadline is July 15th. So please get me your articles. And legacy is as good as the articles that come in are, and they have been really great. We love learning from you, getting your ideas, seeing what's going on all over in companies everywhere. Please, if you can, send me my email. You can mail it to me also, but if you have a picture and you email it, please email that separately, just as an attachment. If you have a piece of paper and you embed the picture on it and I try to pull it off, it's not a clear picture. So if you could just send any pictures separately also, that really helps. These are the types of things that we will print. Camper company activities, recognitions, visits, events, celebration, and lesson ideas. There's been some great lesson ideas in the last couple editions of the legacy that help things that will help other daughters get new ideas and share those. We also print things about museum and marker events and celebrations, outreach activities by companies and camps, and membership recruitment successes. So those are the types of articles that we're looking for. The things that we cannot print are obituaries. We do have the memorial page where we can list the name, camp, company, and that I get that list from the membership department. So if you have somebody that has passed away, please send to membership a record change form with that name of that daughter. And you can include an obituary or a program for the funeral or something that shows she actually passed away. Sometimes people just assume that somebody has passed away. And I do get calls right before we go into print saying, oh no, did you already print it? This person is still alive. And so we have to take her off the list. We want to know they really have passed away. Nobody wants to read about their death in the legacy. So please check on that. We also do not print poems or personal pioneer stories, your own stories, items for sale, articles about the installation of camper company officers or your elections. We have 180 something companies that would fill up many editions. And articles about events, service projects, or fundraisers for other organizations under the DEP. That is our policy as an organization. We do not raise funds or do service projects for other nonprofits or other organizations as an organization. So I can't print it in the legacy because it doesn't follow our bylaws. So those are the information, that's the information about district conventions and the legacy. If you have any questions, I will be available. I'm going to run over to the secretary of training.
A lot of us wear more than one hat in this organization. You can see with Stacy, she also manages and designed our web page for us. So she's doing a lot of things all the time. Thank you. And I'll reiterate what you said about district conventions. They are so fun for us to come and see and visit you at your different companies. And we are always coming back and bragging on the really cool speakers or the really cool musical numbers or the delicious lunch or delicious refreshments or cute centerpieces or whatever it is. It's sometimes a kind of can you top it activity when we get that. We really enjoy them so much. And you do such a wonderful job with your district conventions. All right, next slide. I'm going to tell you a story about what happened to me a couple of weeks ago. In 1978, when my husband and I got married, we bought a freezer, an upright freezer to augment our refrigerator. And it died 2 weeks ago. So if you do the math, that was a very, very old freezer. After an appropriate mourning period, we went to the store to choose a new freezer. And while we were there, we saw among the selection of upright freezers, some of the cards that described their features said, "Garage ready." Well, I didn't know what that meant, and neither did my husband, so we asked the salesman, and they said, oh, garage ready, yes. If you are going to put the freezer in the garage, you have to buy one that's garage ready. I said, what's the difference? He said, oh, they're built differently. They're much stronger. They have more insulation, they have a greater capacity for electricity, and they are built from a stronger material. They're just all over much better, much stronger, ready to sit in your garage where it's going to be really hot and really cold, and the door is going to be open a lot, especially if you have kids and grandkids stealing popsicles. The door will be left open, and you probably will find a spoon by the ice cream container in your outdoor fridge. So, since our fridge was going to be in the garage, we bought a garage-ready freezer. And let me tell you, it really works. It keeps everything cold. I even found the door open. Don't know how long it had been open, but everything still survived. I would like to suggest to you to think about being garage ready. You need to be strong. You need to have special insulation in the form of knowledge. You need to know your job. You need to know the people you work with. When you go out to do DUP work, you should be saying, I am garage ready. I am better. I am stronger. I am ready to do my work. How can we be garage ready? Let's learn some things. Go ahead and give us that other slide. Number one, to be garage-ready DUP presidents, read the monthly bulletin. Also, read the legacy. But let's go back to the monthly bulletin. The monthly bulletin has been published every month for 6 years. And everywhere I go, people don't know about the bulletin. The bulletin is written by the president and edited by the secretary and contains all the information you need to know for how to do your job that month, what's coming up, what the new activities are going to be, and it gives you lots of information. In almost every convention I go to, and the other officers the same, one of the first questions is, do you read the bulletin? So I'm not going to ask you that question to raise your hand, but do you read the bulletin? This is the number one most important thing you should do as a company president. Just for an example, this year we had company president elections, and starting in December, we started putting the instructions for how to have a company election. We also, in the odd numbered years, have an international officer election. And beginning in December, we put the instructions for the companies to hold an international election. The international election was different this year because we didn't have delegates and we did the election online. We changed the procedure so that every single person in every single camp got to have a vote. But as we went to the district conventions, we found that nobody knew about the international election because they didn't read the bulletin. And so when we had the deadline for the international election ballots, we got 49 companies' ballots out of 185 companies. Where were all the other elections and ballots? We don't know. Did these company presidents not read the bulletin or have an election? This is a real concern for us because we sent information to each company president by email and through the bulletin, but the ballots did not come in. So please read the bulletin. This is where you get the instructions about what we do. Today, in our convention meeting, we'll be announcing the newly elected international officers. And I'm sad to say this will be a surprise to a lot of people because they didn't know we were having an election because they didn't read the bulletin. A lot of times when people call us on the phone and ask us questions, we know that the answer was in the bulletin for that month. We always answer the question and help them with whatever they need, but then we usually try to say, did you read the bulletin? And they say no. So please, we work very hard on those bulletins and fill them with all the information that we can. And we ask you presidents to read them and then pass the information along. Okay, so if it's that important, where is it? It is on the front page of our website. So all you have to do is go to isdup.org and click where it says monthly bulletin. Also, all of our company presidents are on an email stream, and every single company president receives the bulletin in their own email. Now, if you're not receiving that bulletin in your email, you may need to have to train your computer to not send it to spam or trash. And also, if you're not getting it, please send a message to our membership department and say, I'm not getting the bulletin. Let's check my email. But if you didn't get it in the email, you can get it on the front page of the website. And that also means that not only company presidents can read the bulletin, everybody can read the bulletin. It's on the home page. This is where you become garage ready, believe me. This is the key to your success by reading that bulletin and knowing what you get to do. Okay, are there any questions about that? I hope that when you read it, you will find, first of all, the dates that our museum is going to be closed. You'll find out how many new memberships we received in the month. You'll read about all of the special activities that are coming up that month, any deadlines, reports due, election information, or any other information that the camps and companies need. And also other interesting articles about, we announced the royalty was going to be, we announced just all kinds of things in the bulletin. So, number one, I hope that is what you came home today, that you spread the word to everyone. Read the bulletin, and then you'll really know everything. You'll know as much as us. That's a lot. So read the bulletin. Then also the legacy. Stacy talked about the legacy. The legacy is the greatest. And please send some things into the legacy from your company. We love to hear from you and see the pictures of you and what you're doing out there. We'd love to see the pictures of the marker dedications and the activities that you have, pictures of your Jubilee and your district conventions, just all the fun things. So we really, really love to have you send us. And again, she said that the deadline is July 15th. So do something fun and then let us know. All right, next slide. Another thing that you can do to be garage ready is to have organized company officer meetings. This is your job. You get to call people together. This is where you have a great positive meeting and make all of the plans for the activities that your company does. You counsel, you plan, You problem solve. You talk about your members. You talk about your camps. Your different officers give reports about what they're doing. And you just really get to know what your company's doing and feel a lot of love for them and plan with your officers things you want to do. Okay, next slide. There are 3 required activities from the bylaws for the company officers to plan. The first one is the Jubilee. And the Jubilee is a really fun party, fun activity, fun speaker, whatever you choose to do. It was set up to do what?
Celebrate Brigham's birthday.
That's right. Celebrate Brigham Young's birthday. And that has continued. Sometimes in the Jubilees, we don't mention Brigham Young anymore, but that's what the Jubilee was set up for, to have a party every year to celebrate his birthday. And it's turned into celebrating DUP and the kinds of things you do. So very, very good.
Brigham was 225 this year.
Did you hear what she said? Brigham was 225 this year. He would have loved it. He was in attendance. He was in the building.
Yes, he was in our Jubilee.
That's awesome. So that's the fun thing. And if you don't have a district convention, like if this was the year you didn't have the district convention, that's a time when the president can give her report. But this is just your fun party. The second thing that you are required to do is plan your district convention on the off years when you have the conventions. And by the way, again, we really love the district conventions. Next slide. And then the last thing that you're required to plan is the officer training meeting. So you're getting trained today, and all of your officers are being trained: the secretaries, the treasurers, the registrars, the historians, the chaplains, the parliamentarians. I probably missed one. They're all being trained today, and then you have a meeting to train your camp officers. All of those in your camps who have those positions get trained. These are the only 3 events that your company is required to do. That's it, those 3. Okay, next slide. Well, the culture of DUP is different from unit to unit. And what we see in a lot of different companies is Christmas parties, opening socials, closing socials, monthly speakers, quarterly luncheons, field trips. We see all kinds of activities that are planned by company officers. That is fine. That is your culture. It is not required. These are decisions made by the company executive board if they want to have an activity like that, but it is not required of anyone. We know of a lot of companies that started out 10, 20, 30 years ago having a speaker and a luncheon every single month. And they continue to do that to this day. That's a lot of work and it's a lot of expense. But it's their culture and they love to do it. Most of the companies only do the 3 activities written about in the bylaws. But if you do these other activities, the DUP police will not be at your door. It is your decision, but please be very clear with you and your board. They are not required. They are something that is a local decision from you. How many of you have extra activities besides the 3 required? See, a lot of you do. And we've had some people come to us and say, oh, we have these activities every month. We don't want to do it anymore. But our president says we have to. We say, no, you don't have to. It's your cultural decision. It is what your local group decides. Are there any questions about that? Okay, awesome. All right, next slide. So, are we garage ready? Do you have enough information now to go to your companies and be the kind of leader that you want to be? You pick up your DUP bag, you put on your DUP face, and off you go and you do your work. This is why we do what we do. To remember the pioneers, so we need to be ready, be prepared, support our camps, use our garage ready. What we've learned about being garage ready and also management by walking around. The pioneers can bring us so much inspiration. And by following the camp outline and doing all the things in the camp outline, including the history and the artifact and the lesson, we can really promote the spirit of the pioneers throughout our organization. And I'll just have to give a plug to all of you who are really embracing the 10-year initiative and looking at how their camp and company looks and making plans for the future. We've had a real boom in our membership, and I hope that you're all enjoying that by getting new members. We had over 1,000 new members in our last fiscal year, which is an average of about 90 new members of DUP every single month. So that's a lot of work for you, and it's strengthening your camps. All right, be garage ready. Do management by walking around. I think you'll find a lot of success. Are there any questions that you have for me?
Can you define garage ready? I'm sorry I missed it.
Garage ready? Is that what you said? What?
Yes. Want to define.
Okay, I was just using it as an example. Being garage ready, strong, lots of insulation, lots of extra preparation. Just talking about my freezer and saying they make my freezer stronger and better so it could be in the garage, out in the world. We need to be stronger and better with more information so that we can be out in the world with our DUP ladies. Just kind of a funny way of saying, be prepared, be ready, be strong so that you can be a good leader. Yes.
When is the bulletin usually available? Is it always like the first of the month? Or?
Yes, it always comes out the first of the month. And our board meetings are the first Monday of every single month. That's when the executive board and the international board meets. And the bulletin goes out the very next day. But in some of the months where the calendar is up and we're not meeting in our board meeting until the 6th or the 5th of the month, we try to put the bulletin out even before our meeting. So right now, the bulletin will go out early because our board meeting will be on July 7th. And so it will go out about July 1st. So always look for it at the first of the month. And where are you going to find that bulletin? That's right. Every time, always be there, right as rain. You can count on it.
I have a question about the legacy.
Yes.
So I know the September is the next issue coming. She wanted those articles by July 15th, but monthly, is it, or they do a certain time, or does she only put in what's before July 15th? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And is there a deadline each month for that?
No, the legacy only is published 4 times a year. So the deadline is only 4 times a year. So it's July 15th. Everything that comes in by July 15th will be considered for that bullet or for that legacy that's coming in September. Yes.
Thank you.
And so the next deadline will be October 15th for the winter legacy.
Being considered, not everything you see.
Okay. Marian has a question about When you submit an article to the legacy, it doesn't mean that it will automatically be put in the legacy. It will be considered for the legacy. And every article that's sent in to us by our editor, it's flipped over to see if it follows all the qualifications for an article that we accept. And then we generally edit it also so that it fits in the space. Sometimes we have to shorten it a little, sometimes we probably get a little more information and get some information about pictures or other questions that we might have. So if you send one, it may not be put in the legacy, but they will all be considered for the legacy. Okay. Yes.
I don't have a question, but I want to tell you, I love your articles in the legacy. And thank you so much for all the input that you put into the article. And thank you for the bulletins. Wonderful. So helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. We all love our organization and we really do love you. And we want to give you everything that you need. And we try to have the goal of answering the phone and answering every single one of our emails and every single one of our phone messages as quickly as we can. So I want you to get first dibs on those good refreshments out there. So we'll see you back in here about 10:25 for our next meeting. And thank you very much for your attendance and participation today, and we'll see you in a while.
Or we could be with them. I need to see them shine. They went out. Which one's that? Oh.